Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Month of the Full Moon, here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm taking a look at a sci-fi film from 1991. That movie is Dollman, and yeah, it's coming off the same triple feature DVD I saw Demonic Toys from. Now, I don't know a lot about this movie. Maybe about 6 or 7 years back, I watched a trailer for it, and I remember almost nothing. I think it might have been about an alien police officer looking for fugitives from his planet on Earth. However, on Earth, both him and the fugitives are only about a foot tall, thus why he's called Dollman. However, I could also be getting that trailer completely confused with something entirely different. I don't know. That really is how fuzzy my memory is about that goddamn trailer. I have no idea if this thing is going to be any good, but I really hope it is. And the only way for me to find out is if I shut the fuck up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Dollman. Okay, that really wasn't the most conventional way of taking care of a hostage crisis, but it was certainly kind of funny and at least somewhat, creative, so I do have to give him marks there. Wow. I really sort of thought he was kidding when he was talking about how powerful his fucking gun is, but the very fact that a single shot can make anybody fucking explode, that's a pretty damn powerful gun, and I kind of wish that I had one, man. That would be fucking awesome. Wow. So, even when he's only about a foot tall, that gun does massive fucking damage. I've never seen a cockroach die in such an awesome way in any movie ever. Damn it, I really want one of those fucking guns, man. That is really fucking awesome. So hold on, let me see if I understand this. So she gets real bitchy when her incredibly irritating and stupid son calls everybody in the fucking neighborhood to come and look at their 13-inch alien friend, but now she's inviting coworkers over to look at him. Funny. I would think that if you don't want anyone to know he's there, you wouldn't even be talking about him at work, and you sure as shit wouldn't have scolded your son for something that you yourself would do the next fucking day. But then again, maybe that's just me. Wow. His shot was able to take that dude's arm clean off. I understand I've said this a couple of times. I'm going to say it again. I want that fucking gun. Fuck yeah. Well, guys, that was Dollman. And that ending was pretty fucking stupid. But I'm not going to let that bring this down. The movie was still okay, but I guess I should try to explain why. I guess I ought to start with the writing, huh? So, yeah. We have here a story that is okay. I mean, the story isn't perfect, alright? I'll be the first to come right out and say this story is far from perfect. It has a really nice premise going in about how we have this renegade cop who is chasing his, I guess, nemesis through, space, and they hit this energy pocket or something and launches them to Earth. And basically now he has to cope with living on Earth while taking care of a gang of drug dealers. Literally, guys, that is the entire plot. And what I kind of liked about it in terms of writing is that they set up this mountain of backstory for Brick and everything he has done on his planet before he came to Earth. In fact, I kind of wish that they'd have made a couple of those into movies before doing this one, because some of those stories sounded really interesting. I would have liked to have seen this, like renegade cop basically run around and just blow fucking shit up. Essentially a series of films similar to Demolition Man. I would have loved that. But anyway, we are given all of this backstory, which really does flesh out Brick and his nemesis and the whole fucking planet. It all really does develop it nicely, which is something that most films just do not do nowadays. Since I always seem to bitch because characters are not properly fleshed out and they're not properly developed. However, though, where they spent all of the time on that, they then got a little bit lazy when they finally got to Earth, because now almost every character, they might have a little bit of characterization, but there really isn't any proper reason explained why a lot of this shit's going on. Example, exactly why the hell is the leader of this gang so fucking sentimental to, I totally forgot her name. The woman who kind of befriends Brick when he lands on Earth. Why exactly is he so sympathetic towards her? And the only thing I can come up with is that he somehow feels guilty for killing her, or for killing the father of her child while she was still pregnant. That's the best I can come up with. They never really come right out and say it. But that's literally as close as I can come to any reason why he seems so protective of her, and why he's let her live in this shitbag part of New York for so long without the gangs royally, screwing with her, until she decides to fight back against them. Then, now beyond that, one little bit of possible depth, which again is never really covered, and outside of the woman, her irritating son, and this lead drug dealer, there's nobody else on Earth who has any kind of personality to speak of outside of, they are either a drug dealer and Mexican, or they're poor and Mexican. And no, I am not kidding. That literally is how every other character is. They are all fucking, is that all of them are Latino and are either poor or they are a drug dealer, they are part of this gang that deals in drugs. And of course, there are absolutely horrific implications about that, which would also have been rather bad implications going as far back as 1991. But hey, I'm just saying, that really is about as much depth as we get for every other character here. And yet still the story is okay. It does have a lot of things that make me kind of wonder what the fuck the writers were thinking. Example, how exactly can a 13-inch tall man dive out what looked to be a third story window, third story to our scale, mind you, and drop down and grab onto a speeding car and not be just totally splattered against the side of the fucking car. Let alone when the car finally stops, he just sort of drops down, and that would be a rather high fall even for him, and still not even register any kind of pain, which makes me think that the people on his planet have bones made out of fucking metal, which is why he needs a gun that's able to blow them to pieces so easily. It's those sorts of things. Or why is it that she bitches at her kid for basically telling everybody in her little fucking apartment complex that they have this little 13-inch alien in their home? She fucking scolds him for that, but then goes and tells every single person at work about it and invites some of them over. No, there is no fucking difference, lady. You basically are doing the exact same thing which you just bitched at your kid about. And you know what? Even though I have all of these negatives and all these questions, I still kind of liked this. Acting. I think I should cover acting. Well, first of all, Brick is played by he's a legendary actor over at Full Moon Features. His name is Tim Thomerson. He was also in Evil Bong, where he played his major character, which is Jack Death, which is in the Trancers series. Again, I still haven't seen any of the Trancers films. I really should. And he is just fantastic here. I really liked his character, and again, I would actually kind of like to have seen a franchise built out of this. The leader of this gang is played by a very young Jackie Earl Haley, the guy who played Rorschach and Watchmen and Freddy Krueger in that god awful Nightmare on Elm Street reboot. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Jackie Earl Haley's look and his performance, to me, it just seemed almost like what would happen if Nicolas Cage and John fucking Travolta were somehow able to breed, and that would be their offspring. It really does just smack of a little bit of Nick Cage and a little bit of Travolta. Everything. I'm talking look, performance, his voice. It all just sort of meshes, and it's really good. In fact, fuck, this is probably the second best performance I've ever seen from Jackie Earl Haley, of course, the best being Watchmen. So, hell, he was just able to just fucking light it up. And everybody else is also turning in a pretty good showing, too. I mean, like, nobody here is just lazily phoning it in except for the fucking kids. And this is yet another movie where every single child is so goddamn irritating, I want to cave their face in with a brick. But again, that's just mainly because I don't like kids, and when they are this irritating and this obnoxious in a goddamned movie, I want to beat them violently. Now, special effects here are, for the most part, really good, with one huge exception. Because Brick's nemesis, when you first see him, he basically is whittled down to a floating head. He literally is just this head on a small, like, hover, like, rig, which looks okay in miniature because they can just sort of hang it off on a fucking string, and it like looks okay. But when they get to close-ups and it's the actor's face and it's got the fucking like rig around his neck, you can see his shoulders, you can see his shirt, because instead of trying to match it with the backdrop a little bit, it basically is about as different. The color difference between his shirt he's wearing for these shots and the background are as different as the color of this shirt to this fucking backdrop. It is that noticeable. It stands out so much. And I'm kind of happy that we don't have to deal with him for very long. Spoiler alert on that. But there are still like one or two shots with him in close-up that look really good because they bothered to, try to fucking hide his broad shoulders and everything with darker colors or with shadow or with close-ups, even tighter close-ups. It would have been nice if they would have done that with every other shot with him, so that way it looked a little bit less shit, but, still, that, though, was not enough to completely take me out of the movie. It was just enough for me to warrant mentioning it. Otherwise, beyond that, special effects here are really good because most of it is just, like, squib work, really early 90s CG, which looks okay, just basically like a few other things, composite shots and shit like that, and all of that looks really good. So really, it's just the fact that you can see Sprugg's like shoulders and chest whenever they go into a close-up, because he's just supposed to be a severed head on a floating rig, and being able to see his shoulders in shot as he's turning his body, it really just looks so out of place, it's not even funny. That right there is like the one dark spot in what is otherwise a brilliant effects effort here. Sound mix is really good. The soundtrack, the soundtrack is okay. It basically is your usual, typical early 90s direct-to-fucking-video sci-fi fare. It's really nothing ultimately special, but it's not, but it seriously isn't terrible. So, marks on that. So, when all is said and done, am I able to recommend Dollman? Yeah, I can totally recommend it. If you guys can find this thing on Netflix, give it a watch. If you guys can, like, find it really cheap on fucking DVD, I say by all means go for it. To buy this, well, it all depends on how this third movie shapes up. But if I had to pick, if it was just a two-pack with these two films, I'd say no, because then you'd have to have demonic toys, and oh god, no. However, though, if you can find just Dollman on DVD or Blu-ray, by all means pick it up. It's totally worth it. Now, Dollman came off of the Amazon wish list, and as I stated when I reviewed Demonic Toys, the person who sent this in was Kari, and her YouTube channel is youtube.com/user/firefoxkari. By all means, guys, swing over there and check out everything she has. And Kari, thank you, because so far we are 2 fucking thirds into this thing, and well, at least one of them was good. The other one royally sucked, and the third is a crossover betwixt them. I'm not sure if that's going to be any good or not, but I'll find out later on this month. Once more, Kari, thank you, guys. Go ahead and check out her channel. As for me, I actually am feeling pretty good. So I'm probably just gonna sit back and just probably watch some fucking TV or something, and just sort of chill. So yeah, I am really feeling good, guys. This thing here is probably. No, this is by far the best movie I've watched all month. However, looking back at the other things I've covered, that isn't saying much. But still, the very fact that it's the best thing I've watched this month so far, at least that's something. So yeah, alright guys. So with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.